Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is more Bad Business gameplay, and today we have quite an interesting tale of betrayal and intrigue, and I'm using one of the more agreed upon worst SMGs in the game, which is of course the Scorpion Evo, a weapon I've already done a video on. And you might be wondering why are you sharing this with us? Why are you giving us this wonderful gift of this Greek tragedy, which is an incredibly boring game on Convoy? Well, the reason is I bump into another person on Bad Business using this gun, which is quite rare in all my time of playing Bad Business now, which is not as much as, you know, some of the psychopaths like Zylik, but it's a decent amount for me, as I kill a person spawning then, accidentally. I've only come across two people using this gun. One person was using it on Area 51, and the other person was the gentleman that's in this game. And I'm going to tell you right now, guys, my team is not the best in this game, as I get killed by a dude with a riot shield. Thanks for that, very skillful player. My team's not the best, and the enemy team's not the best either, but the enemy team is far more capable than my team, and the person that's going to be using the Scorpion in this gameplay is one of the best players I've ever fought in Bad Business. He's not the best, but he's up there. And when I first died to him, I thought he might be cheating, because he killed me so fast and I was moving really quickly too. I was strafing, jumping, all over the place. I was being very mobile, and he killed me at a speed that doesn't really happen. And that was when I noticed that, hang on a second, this guy's pretty good. And at the beginning of this gameplay, if you watch, guys, you don't notice him at all. I never really had the impression that anyone in this lobby was anywhere remotely close to my ability. And I don't say that to be an arrogant prick, even though it sounds like that, but fundamentally, I can run around Bad Business and destroy and have a good time, and it doesn't really matter how good you are, it just kind of happens, you know? Every so often I'll be in a lobby that's way too stacked, or I'll jump into a lobby that's got an influencer or a YouTuber or a streamer, and I'll leave, because I don't get any pleasure out of exerting my dominance on some poor guy trying to stream and interact with his viewers, and he's playing all distracted and can't focus on the game, and I shit on him repeatedly because I'm not. Like, that to me, I don't really understand this fascination with stream sniping and like trying to like ego dive into other people's streams when you have this massive advantage and then just cash it in and make them feel bad or something. It's a very childish mentality, and it happens a lot. But if you can name a YouTuber for Bad Business, I've joined a lobby where they've been in and I've left. I generally don't play in those lobbies because I stream myself. I know how awkward it can be to stream and interact and try to play well and what have you. That's him there. The person I just killed then, ladies and gentlemen, remember that name. He might be important, but just then doesn't look like much, does he? I just beam him, put him down, get on with my life. And I think it's him just then on the building site over there. But every time he turns up, shit gets interesting, as I unfortunately get cleaned up from just multiple enemies. But if you're familiar with my content, you'll remember that I said that Convoy is like the greatest map in the game for people who are good at the game, people that understand the movement, people that are of a high skill ceiling. And this game becomes a 1v1 by the end of it. Here he is. That's him there again. And you can see from that gameplay just then that person is a little bit more alert than your average player. But he doesn't react that quick then, and he doesn't put any bullets on me. And that's going to change. And I don't know if the guy toggled on. I really hope he didn't, because I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. But it's going to be different once he realises that I'm not just somebody that you fuck about with. You know, he's there again. I killed him again. Something I didn't know in this video as well, most of these buildings are actually slanted. And any slanted service in Bad Business you can actually slide towards. But just see that? Guy puts the Scorpion Evo on and boom! Beats me in a gunfight. And it's like, what? Just completely turn that around, and that you can tell how much I'm taken aback, because he kills me really fast, and it's just that moment of, wow, dude, I did not expect that. And that's what it's going to be from now on. It's going to be steadily over time. This game devolves into me versus him for the full lobby, and he has the better team, unfortunately, so it means that I have to work way harder than he does, and it's kind of an interesting combination, and it leads me to this idea that the Scorpion Evo is the worst SMG in the game. I don't really understand that mentality personally. I think the Evo needs love. I think it definitely could do with a revamp and its attachments. But I really like this gun. I have a lot of fun with it. I don't really know why. It might be just all of my fond memories from Black Ops 2. But every time I put this gun on, I generally do well. I mean, every time I put any gun on, I generally do well. It's just the game we're playing, isn't it? But I don't see the great weakness of the Scorpion Evo that people seem to think it has. And people make out that it's just completely unexceptional. And I just don't really feel that. Like, the only gun in this game that I felt that with was the MP5 before it got its attachments. The MP5 to me was accuracy with no punch. It was just a 30-round P90. That's all it felt like. It felt like a P90 without the mag size. And that to me is very uninteresting and very boring. And I actually really disliked the MP5. I didn't like how it looked, I didn't like how it sounded, and I hated how it played. And then they changed it. And I think the MP5 now is really, really interesting and really fun, and it's one of my favourite SMGs. I can put it on with a bunch of different setups and have a great time, and it's obviously strong, especially with a 10mm. 10mm on the right setup, it can definitely compete with almost anything. But that was the only SMG that stood out to me. He's here again. So this is the 1v1, and I've got no heal and I'm aggressive because I'm an idiot. But this is how I play. I don't care if I die, I want to push, and I'm always going to push. And I pushed and I won. And I didn't deserve to win that, but he fled. And if he didn't fled, he would have beat me. Because he's obviously skilled. Like, he's putting bullets on me like no one puts bullets on me. There's a few players that I've bumped into in this game that had really good aim, that put bullets on me like this guy does. And it's really interesting when you find them too, because I'm not looking for that at all. So when it turns up, you're like, Jesus Christ, this kid's paying attention. And then unfortunately there I get third-partied, but it's gonna happen. So I check his profile, and there it is. Do you see that? He's a 5KD. And 5KD is not that high, but it means something. So I spectate him to make sure that he's not just walling on people. And look at him. Look how he plays. Look how alert he is. Look at where he's looking. Look how quickly he gets on target and he puts targets down. This guy is just a good player. He's a good player, and he's come up across another good player, and he's turned on the skills, you know. He's turned on the ability, and now we're fighting. And he's nearly beating me. And this is what happens, you know. This is the cool thing about video games. This is what we're losing in a lot of modern video games. We're losing these moments where you're in a lobby, and it's uneventful, and you're just killing people and getting on with it. And then all of a sudden, a rival appears, like Smash Brothers. And you're like, oh my god, this guy's good. It's time to, you know, prove who's better. Let's fight each other. And these moments are so unique to confrontational player versus player experiences. You don't get this against the engine. You don't get this against bots. There's not that one bot that you really want to beat and you really want to prove that you're better than, because the bot doesn't give a shit. No one's losing when you kill the bots, you know? But when it's against other human beings and there's pride on the line and there's your own standards, it changes everything. And that's why these moments are so interesting in adversarial modes. Because right now, he's the only guy I care about. Because I know he's good. The moment I know someone's good, I'm thinking about them. Everyone else on that team ceases to exist except for him for me right now. Because he's the threat, he's the danger. I bump into anyone else, I'm confident I can put them down. I bump into this guy, he's gonna beat me. And he just did. Look at that. You know, like, when you come across something that is close to your level, it makes you pay attention. And the problem with modern video games, especially PvP modes, is that there are so many processes happening in the background, predatory processes, to do with matchmaking, to do with your metrics, your statistics, all kinds of algorithms that are working against you to make sure that you come up against lobbies of people where everyone on the enemy team is like this guy. This guy here that I managed to get behind and flank and kill quickly and make him look like any other enemy. But he's not like any other enemy because he's alert and he's accurate. And in bad business, you see good movers all the time. You see them everywhere. Good movement. Movement in this game is insane. Super jumping. All kinds of techniques that people use that give them a very, very, very big advantage. But they can't aim. Most people on bad business cannot aim. It's a very difficult game to aim in. And when you come up against someone who can move and can aim, that's when it gets terrifying. That's when it gets super terrifying. Like, I've been watching a Xylic video recently of some clips he put up where he was using the Deagle and the FAMAS. I think he got Blue Diamond on the FAMAS with Burst, which is really clever. Because Xylic is young, and he's got time, and he's putting time in, and he's very experienced, and you can see it in how he plays, and his movement is exceptional. But his aim is not. And it's getting better, because he's working on it. And when you use semi-auto, when you use burst, you have to aim. There's no crutch there. And by him putting that time in, you can see his aim getting better. When Xylic's aim gets as good as his movement, it's game over for everyone else. He'll be the best player on this game. And he has the time to do that, because I think he's a young kid, which is fucking insane to me. Kudos to him, great player. But usually, like, he's the exception, he's not the rule, you know? Not everybody's like that. Most people on Bad Business, they either have decent aim and bad movement, or they have good movement and bad aim. You don't get the two, you know? And it all depends on what you value. Like, look at this guy. We practically trade. He has an extra person. I get put down. My extra person puts him down, you know? It's third-party city, and my team's leaving. My team's leaving, and it's really close. And usually in a game like this, like, as soon as I come across anybody as alert as this dude, I generally won't stay. I'll be like, you can have this lobby, knock yourself out, have a good time. But my team's leaving, and I want to level up. And I need experience, and you don't get experience in this game until the end of the game, so I had to stick in it for that. And it brings that competitive side out of you where I want to win this. I don't care if my team leaves, I don't care if it's everybody versus me. I want to carry this garbage team to victory, just so I can prove that I can, because their team's just better. And they have one player, much like my team has one player, that are way above the others. And here he is again. Here's the 1v1. And this is all it is. It's a 1v1 between me and him, and everyone else is getting in the way. And it's just that nonsense fest of, if I get somebody helping me, he doesn't stand much of a chance. If he gets somebody helping him, I don't stand much of a chance, because we equal each other. We neutralize the advantage. And the thing that makes this so much better than it is, because this gameplay is way too long, dude. It's hide and fucking seek. My team's leaving. No one's anywhere. It's just a good player. But the bit that makes it really delicious, and the reason I'm sharing it, because how often do you bump into good players? It doesn't happen that often, unless you're playing on a stacked server with a streamer or with a community member, and everyone's joining on with their friends open, and it's just a ridiculous, Hobbsit lobby, basically. You're jumping into a Hobbsit lobby, everybody's jumping around with fucking riot shields. But when you're just browsing and you're playing casually, you don't bump into these gods like you do, you know? So when they do turn up, you're like, hang on a second, this guy knows what he's doing, this is kind of interesting. But how many times do you bump into somebody of this ability, and they're using the same gun you're using, which is a gun the community thinks is garbage? That was just unfortunate, I couldn't get a reload off. But it's just nuts, isn't it? The idea of two players of a higher skill bracket meeting in the middle using this gun of all guns. And I just thought it was an interesting upload, and I've uploaded a lot of different things on Bad Business, all kinds of weird stuff, from guns to like cheaters, to analysis and observations and rants and balance and patches. So I thought that it would be an interesting diversion from what I normally do, just to show you a match where I'm not dominating, I'm actually struggling a little bit, you know? I'm coming up against somebody who's just as quick as I am, if not quicker. And sometimes you have to grit your teeth and you have to make it dirty, and you have to win by any way that you can. And that's what we're doing here. And I'm getting my ass kicked. But this is healthy, dude. This is really, really healthy for you as well. Because there's a time when you play multiplayer, when you're having a really hot streak, and you start believing your own bullshit. The worst thing you can do to improve in any game is to start thinking you're it. The moment you start thinking you're it, some other kid turns up and shits on you. Like I just shit on him then. Never ever do what he did then. That's not a good... The best option you have in Bad Business is movement. Never stand still. But we're 1 kill away from winning. I hope you enjoyed the slightly different upload, and hopefully you'll be hearing a bunch more uploads because the weather finally subsided and I can actually do them. But that was a showdown with the worst SMG against a 5.5 KD player. Thank you for watching. You take care now.